Hey, what's up guys, Jay here, and welcome back to another Throne and Liberty healing guide. Today I'm bringing you an advanced healing guide to PVE, so let's jump right in. Alright, so I want to quickly set the stage for this guide for you to make sure that you get the most out of it. If you're a beginner healer, this guide is probably not for you, but if you are a beginner healer, go check out my video on beginning healing in PVE to make sure that you understand all my basic principles to healing while doing dungeons. For the advanced healer, you are someone who understands your role as the healer and are effective in that role, but want to maximize your potential. If that is you, then I would keep watching. As we get into the guide, we first need to understand what an advanced healer is. First, I want to make it clear that having maxed out gear does not automatically make you an advanced healer. Just because you are even above 3000 power score at this point, you might still be effective, but not optimal. As we discussed in our beginner guide, when you are slotted as a healer, you are expected to heal, and I guided you to focus on that as you are learning and developing your healing skills. However, to become an advanced healer, you are expected to not only keep your team alive, but also do as much damage as possible to clear bosses and dungeons quickly. Essentially, as people get better at the game, you won't be needing to heal as much, and some of the healing specs will just become wasted space. Overall, our goal as an advanced healer is to maximize and optimize both healing and damage. With that in mind, let's jump into the stats. For stat prioritization in PvE, we want to focus on doing the most damage as possible while still being able to dish out as much healing as we need. This is accomplished by prioritizing first dexterity, then perception, followed by strength, and then finally wisdom. Dexterity is critical because if we hit our 40 achievement effect, then we can get increased damage. Perception is also important here because of the increased hit chance, but I still prioritize dexterity over this to ensure we are getting the most damage as we can. Strength is where I put the rest of my stat points because we always want to make sure we have survivability. For wisdom, we don't want to put anything in here because as an advanced healer, you should be able to manage your mana effectively. For weapons and gear, it does not really matter here. For me, I'm still going for my end game PvP gear, so as long as you're using your highest level equipment, you will be just fine. But as a quick overview, make sure to get your base stats, max health, range, and melee endurance, and you'll be able to fly through these dungeons. Alright, now let's move into the most important part, the skills. For skills, even though we are maximizing our damage, you'll notice that I'm still bringing the best healing spells for PvE. As an advanced healer, you are still expected to heal your teammates. Just because we are bringing additional DPS, that does not give us an excuse to not heal. So for heals, bring Healing Touch, Nature's Blessing, Blaze Salvation, Swift Healing, Flash Arrow, and Fountain of Life. For damage, bring Strafing, Zephyr's Knock, Deadly Marker, Brutal Arrow, Time for Punishment, and finally, Touch of Despair. The idea here is that we are trying to get as much single target damage out there as possible while still including some AoE to help get additional damage stacks on enemies to enable our teammates to hit harder. For passives, I will always bring Wraith's Beacon, Full of Corruption, and Roxy's Arrowhead for the damage increase, but I'm also bringing passives that help my overall healing to the team, which include Distorted Sanctuary, Noble Revival, Saint's Oath, Devotion Emptiness, and Vampiric Contract. These all synergize well with our active skills and provide both damage and healing because remember, you're still a healer. For specs, we are still trying to do both healing and damage, so I'll bring Radius Increase and Curse for Touch of Despair. For Swift Healing, I bring only Healing Transfers and Distance Increase as we still want to heal ourselves too in case of emergencies, but we don't want to bring consecutive use because that would be healing overkill. For Clay's Salvation, bring Weaken Removal and Radius Increase to help the group, and for Fountain of Life, bring Radius Increase and Mana Recovery to ensure that we are all topped off. For Bow, under Zephyr's Knock, grab the damage increase, and for Strafing, hit Gale and consecutive use. For Brutal Arrow, get both for mobs and to get our Gale stacks, and for Healing Touch, get Duration Increase and Mana Cost Reduced. Let me explain why. Healing Touch is going to be our primary use of healing throughout higher level dungeons because it acts as a passive dot heal, and hitting 3 stacks of this allow for great healing and enable us to focus more on damage without having to spam other healing spells. Reducing mana is huge on this because we are going to be using it on cooldown and as much as possible. Alright, for Deadly Marker, grab the Bullseye to get that additional marker for increased single target damage, and finally, turn Flash Arrow into Flash Wave because we are focusing on both damage and healing, and this provides great utility for both. For Mastery, Wand, I run halfway down the middle up to Redemptive Penance, and then all the way through the top. For Bow, I run all the way through the top and halfway down the bottom. Alright, now let's move into a typical rotation. First, always start by using Healing Touch on your tank to get healing stacks going, and remember your primary role is the healer, so we should be making sure to heal our teammates first before anything. Then for damage, get Deadly Marker right away, then Touch of Despair coupled with Time for Punishment. This will allow us to set up our damage for not only us but our teammates as well. Next, use Brutal Arrow to get our Gale stacks, followed by Strafing, and then Zephyr's use knock to get the most out of our Gale stacks. At this point, I'll typically use Flash Arrow to do some damage and some healing on the team. For the healing rotation, always make sure to use Touch of Healing on cooldown, as well as Fountain of Life to ensure the team is healthy. You'll notice that you won't be using Swift Healing or Clay's Salvation as much in these higher level lobbies, but I always bring them just in case mistakes are made. Also, don't be afraid to use Nature's Blessing early as well to increase health and mana regen for the team. One last thing I want to make sure to talk about is the Guardian. For us advanced healers, I still want you to bring Lady Knight Hamashia to give us the shield and cooldown speed. This is crucial when we're fighting bosses because it'll allow us to quickly get rid of that boss and also spam heals if needed. If you need help on how to get her, click this link below and check out my quick guide. But always remember, use your Guardian during those boss fights. For me, I typically wait until the boss is below 30 to 50% health to help us finish off the fight. And also, here's a quick showcase of utilizing everything plus the Guardian on the boss. It's crazy how much single target damage you can put out without much healing needed. Alright, for my final points, always remember that you are first a healer. This means your first thought is to healing teammates, then doing as much damage as possible. Your team will greatly appreciate you keeping them up. Then get all your damage out as quickly as possible while still casting your AoE spells on cooldown. For my last note, as you get into the higher power score dungeons, you'll notice that one major thing changes: the pacing. It is much faster and the tank and the DPS will want to pull everything to clear it as quickly as possible. This could become overwhelming, but my best tip for this is to remember your basic principles of healing. Get your tank healthy, get your AoE spells down, and then do damage. A run will be incredibly slow if everyone's dying. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video. If you found it helpful, feel free to like and subscribe, and leave a comment on your thoughts of this build. See you in the next one.